The moment you realize that peace is not found in the world, but built within you, something powerful shifts. No insult can shake you, no betrayal can break you, and no loss can steal your inner stillness. This strength is not given, it is earned through silence, awareness, and discipline. When your mind is no longer a prisoner of reaction, when your breath anchors you more than approval ever could, that is when you become untouchable. Not because pain disappears, but because it no longer controls you. From that moment on, nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again. Before we can aspire to such a state, we must first understand the very nature of hurt, the anatomy of our suffering. Where does it truly reside? Does it live in the sharp words spoken by another, in the unforeseen loss, in the betrayal of trust? Or does it perhaps take root and flourish within the fertile ground of our own mind, watered by our interpretations, our expectations, our attachments? Consider this: an arrow flies through the air. If it strikes an empty space, it passes harmlessly. If it strikes a hard, unyielding wall, it may shatter or bounce off, its energy diffused. But if it strikes soft, receptive flesh, it penetrates, it wounds. The events of the world, the actions of others are like those arrows. They are external phenomena, they happen. But whether they wound us, whether they cause us lasting suffering, depends entirely on the inner landscape they encounter within us. If the source of our hurt lies within our own interpretations and reactions, then it stands to reason that within us also lies the capacity for an unshakable peace, a sanctuary that external events cannot defile. This is not a fortress built of stone and mortar, but one cultivated through awareness, through understanding, through a profound shift in where we locate our true sense of self. Imagine a deep, still ocean. On its surface, waves may crash, storms may rage, winds may blow. But in its depths, there is an abiding calm, an unperturbed stillness. You, in your essence, are like that deep ocean. The surface agitations, your thoughts, your emotions, the dramas of your daily life are real. They are experienced, but they are not the totality of who you are. Beneath them lies a core of pure awareness, a silent witness that is inherently peaceful, inherently whole, inherently untouched by the surface turmoil. Many of us live our lives identified solely with the surface waves. We believe we are our thoughts, we are our emotions, we are our fleeting experiences. And so when thoughts are painful, when emotions are turbulent, when experiences are difficult, we feel broken, we feel hurt. But the journey towards invulnerability involves a gentle disidentification from these surface phenomena and a gradual realization of our deeper nature as the unchanging awareness in which all these experiences arise and pass away. This is not about suppressing thoughts or denying emotions. That would be like trying to hold back the ocean's waves, a futile and exhausting endeavor. Instead, it is about learning to observe them without being swept away by them, to acknowledge their presence without giving them the power to define our entire being. It is recognizing that a dark cloud passing through the sky does not change the nature of the sky itself. The sky remains vast, open, luminous, regardless of the weather. So too, your essential being remains whole and peaceful, regardless of the thoughts and emotions that momentarily cloud your inner sky. This inner sanctuary is not something you need to build, it is something you need to discover, to remember. It is already there, patiently waiting beneath the layers of conditioning, belief, and habitual reaction. The practice of mindfulness, of simply paying attention to the present moment without judgment, is a powerful key to accessing this space. When you learn to sit quietly, to observe the breath, to notice the arising and passing of thoughts and sensations without getting entangled in their stories, you begin to create a little space between the observer, your true self, the awareness, and the observed, your thoughts, emotions, experiences. In that space, freedom is born. In that space, you realize that you are not the storm, but the sky in which the storm occurs. This realization is the foundation of the unshakable fortress within. We've spoken of the nature of hurt, understanding its roots in our internal responses, and we've touched upon the existence of an inner sanctuary, a core of peaceful awareness within us. But how do we truly reside there consistently? How do we learn to release the very attachments and resistances that pull us out of this inner peace and into the turbulent storms of emotional reaction? The next step on our path involves understanding a delicate art, an inner posture often mistaken for coldness or apathy, but which is, in reality, the key to profound emotional liberation and unwavering inner strength. This distinction is crucial for our journey, so let us proceed with clear minds and open hearts. Think of holding a beautiful, fragile bird in your hands. If you grasp it too tightly, in fear of it flying away, you will crush it or at least cause it immense distress. If you hold it with an open palm gently, allowing it the freedom to stay or to go, you can appreciate its beauty, its presence, without the anxiety of possession. This open-handed approach is the essence of detachment. You can love deeply, work passionately, strive for your goals, but you release the desperate clinging to the outcome. You understand that the journey, the effort, the intention is yours, but the ultimate result is influenced by countless factors beyond your control. True detachment is recognizing this and finding peace in doing your best, then letting go of the rest. This also applies to our opinions, our beliefs, even our own self-image. We often cling so tightly to being right, to our cherished identities, that when these are challenged, we feel personally attacked, deeply wounded. Detachment allows us to hold our views, our identities more lightly. We can express them, live by them, but we don't need the entire world to validate them for us to feel secure. We can listen to differing opinions without our sense of self being threatened. We can acknowledge that we might be wrong or that our understanding might evolve without it shattering our world. It is the difference between a rigid, brittle structure that shatters under pressure and a resilient, flexible one that can bend and adapt. This inner flexibility, born of detachment, is a profound source of strength. It prevents the arrows of differing opinions or criticisms from finding a rigid target within us. They may still arrive, but they glance off or pass through without causing deep internal injury because we are not desperately clinging to the specific belief or self-image they challenge. This path of detachment is intimately linked with the practice of acceptance. Acceptance, again, is not resignation or passive victimhood. It is not about liking or condoning everything that happens. It is about clearly seeing and acknowledging what is the reality of the present moment without wasting our precious energy in futile resistance against it. When we fight reality, when we insist that things should be different from how they are, we create immense internal friction, immense suffering. Acceptance says, this is the situation as it currently exists. Now, from this place of clear seeing, what is the wisest, most compassionate, most constructive way for me to respond? It is the calm before the skillful action. It allows us to conserve our energy for what we can influence our response, our choices moving forward, rather than depleting it in a battle against the unchangeable past or the unyielding present. This calm acceptance, this open-handed detachment, allows the waters of our inner ocean to remain profoundly still, even when the surface is touched by the winds of change or challenge. Cultivating this inner sanctuary, this unshakable mind, and practicing the art of detachment are not passive endeavors. They are active processes of inner cultivation, much like tending a garden. We must prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water them diligently, and gently remove the weeds. The weeds in this context are our habitual patterns of reactive thought, our conditioned emotional responses, the ingrained beliefs that tell us our peace is dependent on external circumstances. The seeds are practices that foster awareness, presence, and inner resilience. One of the most powerful tools for this cultivation is mindfulness meditation in its many forms. When we sit quietly, even for a few minutes each day, and gently bring our attention to our breath, to the sensations in our body, to the sounds around us, we are training our mind to be present, to be still, to observe without immediate judgment or entanglement. Each time your mind wanders, and it will, for that is its nature, and you gently, without criticism, bring your attention back to your chosen anchor, the breath, a sound, a sensation, you are strengthening your muscle of awareness. You are learning to become the observer of your thoughts rather than the captive of them. You begin to see that thoughts are just thoughts, fleeting mental events, not absolute truths, not you. You see that emotions arise, crest like waves, and then subside if you do not feed them with further stories and resistance. This practice of observing thoughts and emotions without identifying with them, without being swept away by their current, is fundamental to building inner resilience. It creates that precious space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies your freedom to choose a wiser, more peaceful reaction. Another powerful practice is focusing on your breath. Your breath is always with you, a constant anchor to the present moment. When you feel overwhelmed, agitated, or caught in a storm of negative emotion, consciously bringing your attention to the simple, physical sensation of your breath. The air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, the gentle release as you exhale can have an immediate calming effect on your nervous system. Slow, deep, diaphragmatic breathing signals to your body that you are safe, that the fight or flight response can stand down. This is not about suppressing what you feel, but about creating an inner environment of calm from which you can more clearly perceive and more wisely navigate the situation. It is like finding the eye of the storm, the still center within the whirlwind. This profound alchemy lies in shifting our perception of hurtful experiences from mere afflictions to be endured or avoided into invaluable opportunities for growth, wisdom, and the deepening of our compassion. It is about learning to ask not, "Why is this happening to me?" but rather, "What is this experience trying to teach me? What strength is it inviting me to cultivate? What unhealed part of myself is it bringing to light so that it may be met with awareness and healing?" When we approach life's challenges with this inquisitive, open, and courageous spirit, what once seemed like an enemy can reveal itself as a stern but ultimately benevolent guide. Consider a difficult interaction with another person, one that might previously have left you feeling angry, resentful, or diminished. If you have cultivated your inner observer, if you have practiced detachment, you can begin to look at this interaction with a different lens. Instead of simply reacting to the surface words or actions, you can ask, "What insecurity within me did this trigger? Was it my pride, my fear of rejection, my need for approval?" The discomfort you feel then becomes a spotlight, illuminating a part of your inner landscape that still requires gentle attention and healing. The other person in this light becomes an unintentional catalyst for your own self-discovery. Their actions, while perhaps not kind or skillful, have inadvertently shown you where your own inner work still lies. This does not excuse unkindness, but it reframes your experience of it, shifting you from a passive victim to an active learner. Similarly, when faced with setbacks, losses, or disappointments, these experiences, while undeniably painful in the moment, can carve out deeper capacities within us if we allow them to. Loss can teach us the preciousness of what we have, the impermanence of all things, and invite us to find joy and meaning not just in external possessions or circumstances, but in the enduring qualities of our inner being, our love, our resilience, our capacity for connection. Failure can teach us humility, perseverance, and the importance of detaching our self-worth from our achievements. It can redirect us towards paths more aligned with our true nature, paths we might never have discovered had our original plans succeeded without a hitch. The hurt of these experiences is the initial impact, the breaking of an old form. But if we remain open, if we allow ourselves to feel the discomfort without being consumed by it, we can find in the aftermath new growth, new strength, new understanding emerging, like a tender green shoot pushing through cracked earth. This alchemical process also cultivates profound compassion, both for ourselves and for others. When we have navigated our own inner storms, when we have faced our own vulnerabilities and worked to heal our own wounds, we become far more understanding and tolerant of the imperfections and struggles of others. We begin to see that often when people act in ways that seem hurtful, they are acting from their own pain, their own fear, their own unhealed wounds. Their arrows are often shot blindly, products of their own inner turmoil. This understanding does not mean we condone or permit harmful behavior, but it allows us to respond with a degree of compassion and wisdom, rather than simply reacting with anger or defensiveness. We can protect our own peace, establish clear boundaries, yet still hold a space of understanding for the suffering that motivates another's actions. This ability to meet apparent adversity with wisdom and compassion is a hallmark of a truly unshakable inner peace. The experience that once would have shattered us can now become a mirror reflecting our own growth and an opportunity to extend understanding into the world. This is the transformation of pain into power, of suffering into serenity. This way of being fosters a profound sense of interconnectedness. When you are no longer preoccupied with defending your ego or nursing your own perceived wounds, your heart naturally opens with greater compassion for all beings. You see the shared humanity, the shared struggles, the shared longing for peace and happiness in everyone, even in those whose actions might seem baffling or unkind. This doesn't mean you become a doormat. You maintain clear boundaries with wisdom and strength. But your actions are guided by compassion and clarity, not by fear or anger. You become a source of peace in the world, not because you preach it, but because you embody it. Your very presence can have a calming, uplifting effect on those around you because you radiate the stillness and strength of your own cultivated inner sanctuary. If these words have resonated within your heart, if they have sparked a sense of hope or a deeper understanding, I invite you to carry this wisdom not as a set of rules, but as a gentle companion on your path. Begin where you are. Practice presence. Cultivate compassion for yourself and others. Observe your mind without judgment. And if you feel this message could bring solace or inspiration to another soul on their journey, please consider sharing it. The gift of inner peace is one that ripples outward. For more reflections on cultivating a life of wisdom, presence, and profound inner freedom, you are always welcome here. Consider subscribing to continue this journey with us. Thank you for your precious time, for your open heart. May you walk forward in the quiet confidence of your own unshakable peace, a beacon of serenity in a world that so deeply needs it.